I'm delighted to be joined by Joseph, Ugly Man Joe Holmes today after his great win over Alen Amedovski over the past weekend. Hey Joe, it's great to have you here with us. How are you feeling today?
I'm doing great, man. Today's been a great day, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, and you're coming in fresh off getting a tattoo right now. Can you show it to us? The first preview.
I'm actually still in the middle of getting a tattoo right
Oh,
now.
so what are you getting right now?
I'm getting Patrick Star tattooed on my arm from
Oh, on your arm.
SpongeBob.
That's funny, man.
Yeah, no, I have this sleeve I'm working on that's just full of like cartoons from my childhood, and Patrick Star is a part of it, so I'm getting him added today.
That's so crazy to him, man, because I feel like he's a good representation of the energy that we see from you, that childish bubbliness that you bring to the stage. It's really glad to do it. You
I
know what
can
I'm
see
talking
that.
about.
No, I definitely know what you're talking about, dude. No, definitely. Like, he definitely probably has a big place in my childhood. That's for sure.
Yeah, man. Mine too. So let's talk about your recent performance. Amazing finish, by the way. First round, you got the rear naked choke. You hit him with that knee. What was going on in your mind when you saw him go down from the knee? Were you expecting him to go down, or what was your thought process like?
No, I wasn't expecting him to drop from the knee. It was actually super surprising. I just threw the knee because I was told to, and I just threw it in that split second. And like the moment it hit him, I was like, damn, like, did I really drop this guy? Well, shit, I'm ready to be done. Like, let me try and finish this fight.
Yeah, and you're someone who's looking to get performance of the night bonuses. And I feel like, in the opinion of most people, including mine, you should have got those 50K. Did you get any bonuses behind the scenes? Did anything happen?
No bonuses, no behind the scenes bonus, nothing. They showed me no love for that performance, man.
Oh man, that's not cool, bro. You gotta get
It's not.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, it was a great one, and I feel like sometimes people who are good at submissions, grappling, they sometimes suffer there. Because let me ask you this: do you feel like you would have got the bonus, or you would have been more likely to get it had you finished him with a knockout or capitalized on the knee with a couple punches rather than looking for the submission?
Honestly, I don't think so, just because of the fact that one of the guys that got the bonus that night is Chase Hooper,
Yeah.
and he grappled the whole fight. And he grappled for a couple rounds. I think they went at least 2 rounds, and he still got the bonus. I don't think it has much to do with how you finish, and I think it's more so to do with like who you are for the sport and how big your name is.
Right, the branding value of it. So now that you touch on the topic, Joseph, why don't you explain here for everyone and the people who don't know what the meaning is behind your brand, Ugly Joe?
Well, Ugly Man Joe comes from a group that I created when I was in college, called Ugly Man Gang, and it's basically just where you put Ugly Man before your name. And it was just a way we were just like expressing ourselves at the time. Like, whenever you would see your friend or whatever, you would just start roasting him and start talking about, how he looks, or, what brand clothes he's wearing. And at the time, like, that was just like a way for you to like express yourself. So that's just where Ugly Man Joe comes from. So yeah, it just worked. Once I started fighting, I was thinking about a nickname and just like, oh, Ugly Man Joe. Okay, that works. Everybody calls me Ugly Man already.
You're everyone's best friend, and that's why everyone's like comfortable in that. And like, hey, that's our man Joe right there.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people are like, no, I don't want to call you Ugly Man. That's mean. And I'm like, what? I guess. Okay. But no, most people that know me, they're totally fine calling me Ugly Man.
So, when can we see Ugly Man return back to action? I know you're looking at the fight night card in September. Do you have an opponent in mind?
No opponent in mind. They've or like UFC media has offered me a few opponents, and one was like that Omar guy, Omar with a different last name I can't pronounce. And then one was actually the guy that just fought Eric Anders, who I don't remember his name. I think he was an Asian guy. But either one, I would be totally fine with fighting. But nah, nobody in mind. I wanted to call out Brian Battle because he had a little hype, but I think he dropped down to 170. So nobody in mind. Ready to fight whoever though.
Yes. I did notice one thing, and I wanted to get your serious thoughts on it. You still have one tweet from about 4 years ago up pinned on your wall there. Are you looking to call out Mr. Logan Paul for a fight?
Neither one of them would fight me, man. I'm an actual fighter. They're calling out people who are like washed up and not fighting anymore who have a name. So no, neither one of them would fight me. But I'm gonna leave it up there until my name gets big enough to get that fight though. That's for sure.
I see. So you're waiting for the right opportunity to pull that trigger and maybe see what happens from there on, right?
Yeah, I mean, I actually do this fighting stuff, and both guys are, acting like they really want to fight and stuff. So I called them out before I was actually in the UFC. So it'd be cool to get a response like now that I'm in the UFC.
Yeah, and you also responded to Nate Diaz today. I noticed that as well. What's cooking up there?
Well, he hates cutting weight, so I just thought it'd be an option.
So yeah, you were thinking of like a middleweight bout where he'd just be like, okay, you know what, 185.
I'll take this new guy on. Fuck it. Like, dude, hell yeah, that'd be a dream come true. No, I've always loved Nate Diaz. Actually, the first fight I ever watched was Nick Diaz versus Anderson Silva.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
the first fight I ever watched, and I thought it was a joke. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, you have been critical of boring fighters, right? And in your division, okay, let's talk about it. Joseph, you believe that Israel Adesanya is a boring fighter. Am I correct?
He is definitely a boring fighter. I mean, I'm not really interested in guys who are like being able to go 5 minutes is perfect. Like, I commend that. A lot of respect for that. But wanting to go 5 minute rounds is not fun. Like, nobody wants to see that. But I'm just the type of fighter that looks for a finish. Like, I start the fight expecting a finish. That's what I like to watch. All of the fighters I like to watch get finishes. Like, my favorite fighter is Valentina Shevchenko. Like, she's always looking for finishes. That's just what I like to see. And I know that's what the fans like to see. And my division is inhabited by a champion who doesn't like finishes. So when I see that, it's just like, yeah, well, hopefully we can get him out of there so we can get some interesting fights going on. But no, he just doesn't like to finish people.
So who do you feel like would be the person who gets him out of there? Do you see anyone right now?
I mean, Chidi or me,
Yeah.
but other than that, I mean, Cannonier has a huge shot if he would go for those takedowns off the cage and try and get him out of there. But I don't know. Israel just does a good job at just like making people fight long fights, and that's just not interesting to watch.
Yeah, his point fighting style more so than like going for a knockout. That's what you come to see from him. So let's talk about your road to getting into the mix for title contention. In your mind, when you play out your map to getting there, what do you see? How many fights do you feel like you need? Who do you feel like you need to
I
beat?
would say like 4 fights from now. It doesn't really matter who I beat because it's just more about the way I beat people. Like it, like when every person that I've beaten as a professional, I made them look like they were like not even on the same level as me. And then all of my losses, we went all 3 rounds and I lost to a decision. So it's just like the way when I get a win, it's going to make them look, whoever it is, it's just going to make them look really, really bad. And like the only argument that the fans have is like, oh, that guy, that's the worst guy in the division. Like even Jamie Pickett, he was 2-1 at the time. And everybody's like, you should have beat him. He was the worst in the division. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this guy was a freaking beast. He just went on to fought Dawkins right after we fought, so no, I just think that once I think 4 more wins and I'll be in like title contentionship. And I have 2 more on my contract, but after my next win, we'll definitely have to make a new contract. And then almost when we finish that contract is when I'll get I'll be up there in the title talks. So I think 4 fights.
4 fights. I really like your mindset here, and I feel like Dana White is gonna love your mindset here because he's the one who always says, "Don't rely on the judges, don't go to the scorecards, look for finishes, because these people are
Yeah,
gonna ruin your career." And we saw the controversy that arose after the home fight, right, in the main event
yeah.
on your night. What do you make of that? I've heard you agree with Dominic Cruz's comments that it's not the system that needs to be changed, it's the people inside the system.
Yeah, no, I mean, I still believe that. Like, it's not really the judge's fault because the judges are just doing their job that night, just like us as fighters. We're just doing our job. That's trying to put on a show and hopefully finish our opponents. But it's just like you shouldn't have people in there where there's any room for question. Like, we should have people in there that we trust to know how to judge a fight, which means they should have been in a fight themselves. Otherwise, I'm getting judged by some people who do like those movie judgings. What are they called? Babe, what are those movie called? No, but what is that? Yeah, what is it? Tomato? Yeah, the Rotten Tomato. The people that judge movies, like, who are they? Like every time me and my girl watch a movie together, she's like, "Oh, this got like a 25 on Rotten Tomato," and I'm like, "Who the heck is Rotten Tomato?" And that's the same way I feel about these judges. Like, who the hell is that judge that's saying, like, both of my losses were unanimous decision losses, and both of them could arguably be like, I at least got one round of those fights, but even still, they're unanimous. Like, so that's why I'm just like, I don't give a shit about those stupid judges. Like, it's my fault for letting it go that far in the first place.
Yeah, and you absolutely, man. All props to you for having that mindset, knowing what path you're on and what you need to think like to get further in the game. At the same time, you have expressed your discontentment with the unanimous part of the decision against Pickett, right? So what do you feel like is the solution to these problems? Do you feel like there needs to be a major overhaul or just putting X fighters in place? And is that something you feel like would be unique to MMA in particular? Because we don't really see that all often in other sports.
Yeah, I mean, we see a lot of ex fighters right now going into the commentary part, going into like the, breaking down of fights and all the pre-fight stuff. Like, we see a lot of fighters going into that because we appreciate their honest, non-biased opinions, But right now, I think that would be the best bet for UFC. Like, I mean, why? I don't know who judges my fights, but I assume that there are people who have fought before, but I just don't know. But I would just imagine those would be the best people to put into that position for sure. Like, somebody who's at least been in a fight. Why would I want anyone else judging my fight if you've never even fought before?
Yeah, and that does make sense. Some of these judges do have experience, like Sal D'Amato. ABC, the boxing commission, their president came out after Cruz had made those comments, and he basically defended that they get qualified people. Not that they necessarily have fighting experience inside the cage, but they are practitioners and they have attained like next level belts and stuff like that.
Belts have nothing to do with a fight. Because my first fight ever, I was a blue belt and I fought a black belt. And our belts had nothing to do with that fight. So they're just trying to use the word qualifying and all that stuff just to make it seem like it's actually like certified people, when no, I feel like the only thing that certifies someone to judge my fight is that they could have a fight that I could pull up on YouTube or ESPN Plus and watch.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I do feel like it's going into a more positive direction and it shall only continue to improve.
He's finishing my tattoo.
Yeah. No worries, man.
Well, it's my time to shine.
Yeah, it's your time, baby. You're good, brother. I'm moving. I'm switching seats with my girl. She's getting hers.
And are you guys getting matching tattoos?
No, we're not getting matching ones. They're both SpongeBob related because we both love SpongeBob, and that's kind of how we met. But they're not matching that.
Oh, is she getting Sandy or SpongeBob?
No, she's getting the drawing SpongeBob had drew Doodle Bob, like the portrait of himself holding the pencil, and he's like,
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
Oh my
it
God.
really is.
So, before we wrap this up real quick, because I know you're.
No rush, brother. No rush. I'm all good.
Don't let us judge us. Don't let them judge us, Vic.
Yeah, I did want to give you the floor to shout out any sponsors, teammates, or anyone else you would like to.
Yeah, no, shout out to Road Run CMO Cereal Bar in Arlington, Texas. Shout out to my coaches, Anthony Salang saying with SFS MMA and James Krause with Glory MMA. And then shout out my management team, Iridium Sports Management Agency. You guys rock. And then appreciate your time, bro.
Man, thank you so much, Joseph. I love your energy. It's been amazing. And I can't wait to see you get back inside the cage and get more finishes.
Heck yeah, man. Anytime you see me, that's what you can be prepared for sure.
Yes, sir. And I hope you have a great day ahead, Joseph. Thank you so much
You
for your
too.
time.
Thank you.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.